look at it a little more closely. That is, in our relationship with each other, we create images of each other. And the relationship is between these two images. These images are mechanical. They are not, they are put together by thought. As remembrance. You did this yesterday. I told you that. You, etc., etc. Memory, which is mechanical. So, when in relationship, in human relationship, the mechanistic action takes place, there is bound to be disorder. And that's why there's such strain in our relationships with each other. Please go away. Right? So, order is necessary for the brain to function properly, efficiently. When there is order, the brain is at rest. It hasn't to work to bring about order. Right? That's what takes place when we are sleeping. Memory tries to assert order. When there is so much disorder around us, in ourselves, there is some part of the brain says, for God's sake, let me put some order in all this mess. So, it puts order in the mechanical activity of life. Go to the office, working, all that, or the factory, and so on. But it tries to bring order also in our relationship by creating an image of you, of her, and hopes thereby to have an orderly life, which is mechanistic. I wonder if you see this clearly. Therefore, there's always struggle between man and woman. That is in all relationships. Not only between man and woman, in all relationships. When we reduce relationship into mechanical process, there must be bound to be disorder. Right? This is a fact. Now, to observe the fact, right? How do you observe the fact? Is the fact different from you? So you are the fact. So you are the image. I wonder if you may have a dozen images. When you go to the office, you have an image there. When you are working in a factory, you have an image there. When you are a secretary, you have an image there. And so on and on in your relation. We have dozens of images, masks. And so these images are perpetually creating disorder. I am a Catholic, you are a Protestant. Disorder, which is an image, put together by thought. Thought which has been conditioned, educated to be a Catholic, as a Protestant, or a non-believer, as a communist, and so on. So, there must be order right through life in our relationship. Therefore, one must understand the process of desire. See how complex it all is. But it's very simple if we once grasp the root of it. There is the disorder of mechanistic relationship and order in mechanical processes of life. And therefore one has to understand desire. Desire is, we said, sensation plus thought is desire, with its images. And pleasure, please, pleasure is the movement of thought, unaware of the whole structure of pleasure. Where there is pleasure, there must be fear. I wonder if you get this. Isn't it? Is it two sides of the same coin? If you pursue pleasure, you're also pursuing fear. Right? Do you... No? Oh my God. We're not saying we should not pursue pleasure, but see the implications of it. I seek pleasure. And if I don't have it, I'm annoyed. I can feel frustrated, angry, which then breeds fear. So they are always going together, fear and pleasure. Right? So thought is the movement, giving life to both. You understand now? If I have no thought of tomorrow, I wouldn't be afraid, would I? At the moment of an incident, danger, there is no fear. It's only after. The after is the movement of thought. So you see, this is very important. Can the brain not register at all and so give movement to thought? You understand? Look, I'll explain. Just look at it. You see a sunset. And take that as the most simple thing, though it's time-worn, but doesn't matter. You look at a sunset. At that moment of perception, the beauty, the color, you follow the whole of it. There is no registration. Just there is the mere observation of an astonishing sight. It is so, right? Then thought comes and says how marvelous that was. I must write a poem about it. I must write it in my letter to my friend, or paint it, verbalize it. All the movement of thought. Now, to observe the sunset and not let thought come into it at all, that requires great attention. And not to let the movement of thought take over, which is the pursuit of pleasure. Have you got something of this? Do it. You will find out what an extraordinary thing it is. That the brain, which is accustomed to register, and it is necessary for it to register, to bring mechanical order in a certain field. But when it registers and pursues what it has registered, then pleasure is the continuity of it, which brings about fear also. You so can you observe only without registering? You understand my question now? Huh? I've stated, sir. If you understand it, don't state it in your words. Try to follow. Otherwise, you put it into words, and then it becomes you're maybe twisting it. So please just listen. I am aware that I'm afraid. Psychologically. And not allow them and not register that fact at the moment, which requires tremendous alertness, you understand? Doesn't it? Otherwise, you mechanically operate. I'm afraid I must control it, I must run away from it, all the rest of it. But when you observe, in that observation, is it possible not to register at all? I see a beautiful face. Observe it. That's all. But we don't do that. All the mechanistic habits, movement of thought comes into being. This requires, as I said, great attention, which is its own discipline. So that there is the mind, so that the brain is free to observe only and act mechanically. You see the... Now, all this is a process, is not a process of analysis. To me, analysis is a waste of time. Whether you psychoanalyst, all the rest of it, it's a waste of time, because the analyzer is the analyzed. Now, can you see the totality of pleasure at one glance, the whole structure of it? You understand my question? We said, what is pleasure? We've been through that, right? Pleasure is the movement of thought after the actuality has gone, right? We said that is movement of pleasure and the pursuit of it. Now, and what is desire? And the whole movement of thought, right? Movement of thought, desire, actual happening of incident, and then the continuity given to it by thought. Can you see the totality of the structure of pleasure? Not bit by bit. You understand my question? I wonder if you do. To see something totally. To see something totally is not to have direction. I wonder if you see this. When you look at a map, and you have a particular place you want to go to, which is the direction, then you don't look at the rest of it. You go from here to Bramley, into London, and so on. That is finished. So, to look at the whole of the map is possible only when you have no direction. Direction means motive. I wonder if you got it. So, to see the totality of and the nature and the structure of pleasure, which is thought, desire, and the movement of thought after the incident, to see the totality of it. If you see the totality, then you can describe it in detail. But the description in detail will not give you the whole picture. I wonder if you get it. So to see something totally, your wife, your husband, your politics, the whole of it, is possible only when there is no motive which gives direction. Got it? So, pleasure is the movement of thought, which is entirely different from that which is enjoyable. You enjoy. Say, if you like food, you enjoy food. But thought comes over and says, I must have the same kind of food tomorrow. Then the habit begins. Then they break down the habit, which thought says, I must break it down. So all the conflict begins. Whereas if you are fond of foods, taste it, enjoy it, and end it there. You understand? And not say, well, I must have it tomorrow or this evening. So in the same way, to observe your wife, your husband, everything around you without registering and therefore giving it a continuity. Then that gives the brain a tremendous freedom. You have established order where it should be orderly, and you have cleared away all disorder in relationship. Because then there is no picture, there is no image between you and her, or between another. Got this? Good. That's enough for today, isn't it?